This week on the show, TV networks announced their new fall lineup, Harry Potter cast a spell on Amazon, and Toy Story 2 was almost accidentally erased. All that and special guest YouTuber Lauren Fracesca right here on Behind the Video, episode number 3.
This episode of Behind the Video is brought to you by the Independent Media Network. The Independent Media Network helps journalists and content creators create their own jobs by building sustainable online businesses. If you're an unemployed or underemployed journalist or content creator, visit imnct.com for more information. Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 3 of Behind the Video. I am Lon Seidman, joined as always by my lovely co-host Tim Street. Tim, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks, Lon.
Great to have you back, and Goldie unfortunately can't make it this week. She's working, whatever that means. But why don't you tell us who our guest is this week?
Absolutely. This week we have popular YouTuber Lauren Fracesca. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, guys.
Lauren, tell us about some of your videos. What are some of the things that you've done that have millions of views?
I work with Barely Political, Key of Awesome, so I've been in a bunch of Lady Gaga videos that have lots and lots of hits, which is great. And yeah, just, college humor, Funny or Die, ton of stuff.
Have you, you're doing Lady Gaga. Have you ever run into legal issues with the Lady Gaga folks for your videos?
I have no idea. I hope not. I've heard other YouTubers have, but that's not my department.
Yeah. So you seem to have a lot of fun with the videos that you do. I mean, they're kind of crazy, off the wall. What's like the most outrageous thing you've done?
Well, the one I have on my page right now, actually, I just put a new video up, but I fell into a fountain.
That was in Vegas?
Yeah, that was in Vegas. I fell in a fountain. That was
Nice.
pretty crazy. I mean, and on my birthday, my friends pranked me and pretended to get me arrested. That was pretty crazy too.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too fun.
It was the worst.
So what do you got coming up next? What can we look forward to?
Well, I just acted as Mystique in a what's called a Super Therapy, which is one of Key of Awesome shows. So I'm super excited about that. Really fun. They painted me blue, and I had silicone all over my face yesterday. So I'm kind of like, I'm so tired now. I'm like, oh my god.
I can
And then
imagine.
after that, I shot a Kimye video. So that should be really cool. You guys should totally wait to see that one.
We're going to get into the news and stuff, and then maybe a little bit later in the show we can ask you some questions about being a YouTuber and making your living doing YouTube videos.
For sure.
Cool. Lon?
Well, great. Let's move on to a couple of news items. Of course, Tim, you've been traveling a lot, and you're traveling again next week, it looks like, too. But you were at Streaming Media East. So what happened over there, and what did you get from the great session in New York City?
Yeah, Streaming Media East is really interesting. It's a bunch of people that get together to talk about the different technologies that allow you to live broadcast, kind of like what we're doing right now with Google+. So they did have a guy from Google there talking about Google+ Hangouts and how easy it is and how we're going to see more and more people live streaming like what we're doing right now. But on the corporate side, on the big enterprise side, there's a lot that goes into live streaming. You need to have encoders in place. Companies like Invivio and Cisco were there, as well as Elemental, and they make these encoding appliances that take a video signal and then transcode that into different signals and broadcast those out so that you can watch it on the PC, you can watch it on the iPhone, the iPad, Android, Roku, Boxy, all these different types of technology. And so there was a lot of talk about all that technology and how it's changing. And then another keynote was given by Jim Louderback of Revision 3. And last week on the show we mentioned that they sold to Discovery for $35 million. And Jim was talking about how fast things are growing and the different technology that's out there and how computer speed is just, Moore's Law is just taking off, and that we're going to see some crazy real-time 3D animation taking place that he thinks will be done by kids, in Nebraska. Kind of take the YouTuber Fred model and apply that to 3D animation. So it was a great show, a lot of good people there, but some of the key people that were normally there were missing, and I think that was because the show was at the same time as the upfronts.
Aha, and Upfronts had quite a bit going on this week. There's a great site.
If you don't know about the upfronts, what it is all the TV advertisers come together at these basically big parties that the networks put on, and the networks announce what their new shows are going to be for the fall lineup, and then they allow the advertisers to spend their advertising dollars up front to get at those great new shows.
Well, that's very convenient for them. I would love people to give me money up front. Lauren, has anyone offered you a couple $1 million yet up front for your upcoming YouTube videos?
I wish, and I hope it happens soon.
So advertisers take note. She is ready to take your money. There's a great website called Metacritic that actually did a really good breakdown of all of the network's upcoming shows. And here's a screenshot of it right now. You can see some of the kind of what they put together here. But all of the networks have some new shows. Obviously, Fox is probably, I don't know. Their show, one of the shows that they're introducing, Tim, is called Mob Doctors. I think they've kind of found the end of the creativity for the medical drama. I guess it's a woman who's going to be taking care of mobsters who have health issues. I don't know about that one.
I can't imagine that, with the healthy diets that mobsters have, how they could have any health issues at all.
Right. Well, I guess they need a mob doctor then, so that should work out pretty well.
Well, you get shot, you can't go to the hospital, right?
That's right. You need somebody to take care of you right away. So hopefully she has emergency room experience. So we'll see how that show turns out. ABC has a neat show called Last Resort, and it's about an American subcrew. It's kind of like that movie from about 10 years ago, was it Crimson Tide or something, where they had to decide whether or not to launch nuclear missiles. So same kind of premise. They were given the order, they decided not to follow the order, and then they go rogue and hide from apparently everybody. So
it's Crimson Tide meets Gilligan's Island.
Yes, Scott, I think that's exactly it. I think they somehow end up on an island somewhere, but they've got a nuclear submarine. So we'll see how that one comes about. NBC. We all remember Independence Day, the beautiful speech by our fake president about taking the Earth back on July 4th from alien invaders. So yep. Bill Pullman is back, and he's going to be playing a U.S. president again, but this time it's a comedy.
Uh-huh.
So
I don't know. I haven't seen the trailer for that one.
The next item, actually also from NBC, Revolution. J.J. Abrams is doing another show. This one is about the world losing all of its technology overnight, and this is the result 25 years later of everyone adjusting to a new world order, which seems actually to be quite chaotic. So technology doesn't work, but guns do, and that's actually hard. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you always have to have guns, right?
Yeah, sure.
So that show actually had one of our top 5 YouTube positions this week. So
wow. Now was that? I think the pilot of that was directed by Jon Favreau. I'm not sure though.
Could be. So it looked pretty, pretty highly produced.
Yeah.
So I think that one will be pretty good. CBS has something called The Job, and it's a reality show that follows people along as they get grilled through the toughest job interviews of their life. So once again, we're taking advantage of those who have fallen apart in hard times, and I guess they get enticed with alternative job offers during the course of interviewing for their dream job and decide whether or not they should take the lesser job or go for the gusto. So that was one of the more interesting ones on CBS, but I think you might want to check out Metacritic.com and see some of the other areas that we may not have found as interesting as one of our viewers might. So that's worth checking out. Now, Tim, I wanted to bring this up and love to hear Lauren's perspective on this too. One of the big controversies at Upfront was over a piece of software that Dish Network is introducing that will erase commercials from your DVR recordings.
Well, it doesn't erase them on the first day, though, right?
Oh, is that okay? I wasn't sure how it worked.
Yeah, I think it's after 3 or after 7 days they erase it, and it's interesting. I think this is a play for Dish Network to say, hey, look, if you're not going to pay us for the commercials to be there 7 days later, then we're going to take them out and deal with it. That's my guess. I don't know that for sure. So I think it's like, hey, if you think they have no value, then they have no value, and we're more than happy to take them out for you. Or they can replace them with other commercials that do have value.
And Lauren, do you DVR? And if so, do you watch the commercials or do you skip through them?
I do DVR. It depends. You know, I mean, it just depends on the commercials. Sometimes I'm in the mood to watch commercials because I think they're funny, and other times I just want to watch a show. So it depends what my time is like.
Wow, what'd you do to your camera? It's crazy looking.
I don't know. I was trying to fix it. I don't know what I did.
Looks like you're on Instagram.
Yeah,
does.
you got a filter on your camera.
Yeah, the filter on the camera. So it's funny how the lighting works on these cameras there. So there was a company called Replay TV that was out probably about 10 years ago now.
I actually did a commercial for Replay TV. I did a voiceover, and I think the only words that I said was, "If Hernandez wants to win that fight," that's all he said. And
that's all you said.
Thousands of dollars for that.
Wow, that's a good gig if you can get it, because I had one of these things, and they were great because they had a commercial skip option, and it worked. It was amazing how well it worked.
Yeah, but they got sued.
Yes, pretty much out of existence. So we'll see if Dish Network has a greater tolerance for this kind of stuff. So that was the rundown from TV Up Fronts. Lots of stuff coming down the pike, and also had some controversy too. So I think we'll see what happens with the TV commercials and all the new shows, and whether or not people will continue to fork over millions of bucks for network television shows.
Lauren,
so,
have you been to any movies lately?
No, I really haven't.
Well,
No.
but you did dress up as an Avenger, or no? Have you done an Avenger yet?
No, I haven't.
Who would you do if you were dressing up as? But you did some superhero.
I just did Mystique for very political. I don't know. You know, I've been really busy, so I have no idea. I have to think about that.
So looking at the box office this week, Avengers was #1 with 103 million, and then I guess I didn't do a countdown there. I gave it away, didn't I, Lon?
Well, you know, I think it's no surprise. So they're already on their way to $1 billion on this movie.
But #5 was Lucky One. The Hunger Games coming in at #4. Think Like a Man at #2, and Dark Shadows, which I caught, was in at #2. Sorry, Think Like a Man #3. #2, Dark Shadows with 29.7 million. I thought Dark Shadows would have been a really, really good Haunted Mansion movie. It felt like the movie that Haunted Mansion should have been. So it was. I mean, it wasn't a great movie, but it's a fun movie to see. If you ever saw the Dark Shadows series, probably no one watching this is old enough to have seen the Dark Shadows series.
It was a big cult series, wasn't it? Wasn't it a big cult?
Yeah, it was a pretty hip thing to watch in the '60s. I barely remember it. I remember being scared by it. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun little show. Definitely a rental.
So look, that is Tim's recommendation. It is
There you go.
rental. And first of all, we also want to thank Jason Perrier, our producer, who actually does a lot of work to get this show put together, so we can just talk. Jason, just like Goldie, has a job, and he has to do that job during the Showtime recording, but we'll get him on at some point pretty soon. Moving on to television, we'll go to the top 5. NCIS, once again, is up there. The Los Angeles edition came in at #5. The reality shows occupied 4 through 2 spots: American Idol, Dancing with the Stars, and American Idol again on Wednesday. That show keeps producing. It's quite a scene to see. And NCIS, the original, is still topping the charts at #1, which has been on the air for quite some time. So that one's doing quite well. Cable.
Yeah, a lot of sports in cable again, huh?
Yeah, WWE is in the 2 and 6 spots, but then it's the Denver and LA Lakers at #5, Philadelphia and Boston #4, LA Lakers and Denver #3, and then Denver and the LA Lakers at #1. So it looks like the NBA is still viable, and you know the World Wrestling thing is still going after all these years. So you know I don't know.
Just like Howard Stern, right?
Yeah, Howard Stern, who was on America's Got Talent this week, I didn't quite crack the top 10 on our list, so I guess you know, his fans may not have followed him to that show, or maybe they did and there wasn't enough of them.
Has Howard Stern ever contacted you?
No. I mean, they wanted me to do this Girl of the Month type thing, and I said no.
Yeah, but you know some guys that work with Jackie over there, right?
Oh yeah, they're awesome. Yeah. I know Jackie from Jackie the Joke Show is a really funny guy, really nice guy. Used to write for Howard.
Looking at Hulu, not too much change going on here, Lon.
No, in fact, I think Glee and New Girl just switched positions, so, people are still watching the same stuff. Nothing of interest there. YouTube was interesting because last week we had a lot, we had that fashion video that topped the charts at like 16 million. So this week there's actually some variety. We will not endure you with this horrible sound, but apparently some guy shot his little Shih Tzu dogs going crazy on his iPhone and making terrible noises, and that is in at number 5 this week. There's a guy named Noah, and I don't know, Lauren, if you've ever seen this guy on YouTube. It's one of these things where you look at him, he's like, oh, he's got a guitar, we'll see what he can sing here. But he does a cover of the song "Sexy and I Know It," and
yeah,
just
I've
incredible.
seen him. I've seen him. Yeah, he's good.
He's amazing. So definitely check it out. 5.6 million views this week. So
I wonder if he'll be at VidCon coming up at the end of June in Anaheim.
You should track him down, Tim, if he is going to be there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Neat. Number 3, and Laura, maybe you can help us understand this one. This ASDF Movie 5 from this guy, Tom Ska. He's got 6.1 million views. It's like these little tiny vignettes of these cartoon guys doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
That's pretty cool.
And it's like 2-second clips, and he's got about 1:30 of them. And he's making some money off of these at least. So do you know anything about this guy?
No.
So we'll have to keep an eye on what he's been up to. And at number 1, and we won't play it here because Google will take us down and kill our ad revenue, is Maroon 5 with their Payphone video. Very nicely produced video. They seem to know how to dial in the pop stuff. And of course,
yeah, Maroon 5's always fun. I love that Moves Like Jagger video.
It's great. It is awesome. And number 2, which I skipped over, was the Revolution trailer for the new NBC show. So, it
check that one out. That's a fun one.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. And, it shows you still, too, that, topping the charts are mainstream productions. We have a well-marketed pop band and a network television show at the top of the charts there. So, Lauren, what's the secret to getting into this top 5? I mean, what have you found works and not work? And have you come across things that you think will be an instant hit and turn out not to be, and then the real hit turns out to be something you had no idea would be popular?
Yeah, that's what happens all the time, It's like you have videos where you didn't think it was like that great and you're just putting it up, and then it's like, oh my god, everyone loves this video. It's just keep trying. It's trial and error, and I feel like your audience always changes and things always change. Do you guys hear this behind me or no?
No, we're okay.
Okay, good. There's like major construction next door to me. So I'm like, oh great. Wherever I go, it's so loud here in New York.
What about interacting with your audience? Do you have a lot of people contacting you all the time?
Oh my god. Yeah, I have a bunch of best friends. This little girl in Uruguay, she's 15. Talk to her every day. And then, this guy in Jersey, he actually just set up my Wikipedia page. It's awesome. He must have spent a day on it. It's so much work. I'm going to take him to lunch and video it. But yeah, like I have a bunch of fans that I stay in touch with and I talk to.
Sounds like you need a personal assistant. Do you ever outsource that?
Oh no, we don't.
No.
No.
Okay. Lon was telling me I should get a personal assistant to help me.
See, it's good when you're busy, but eventually I think it's nearly impossible to get everything done yourself if you're making some headway in the online media world. So it can certainly be busy. Now, Lauren, do you look at your analytics? I mean, do you go through like the granular views of your videos and when people drop off? I mean, what kinds of tips would you have for people that are trying to get into the top tier of YouTube traffic?
I mean, just make interesting, good content. You know what I mean? That if you have what your fans like, just go towards what your fans like and have a specific voice. Which is really hard. It sounds really easy, but it's very hard to have a specific voice and to stay on track.
All right, let's move on to ebooks to see where things are at. It looks like things really haven't changed from last week. The 50 Shades of Grey series is dominating iTunes and Kindle this week. I have not read them.
something really interesting about that Jim Lauterbach from Revision 3 said in his keynote at Streaming Media East was that the reason that Shades of Grey is so popular right now is because it's a digital book and nobody can see the cover of what you're reading. So for years, people wanted to read stuff like that, and they never read it, and now they can get away with it on the subway. So
yeah, that
was pretty funny.
That could do it. That could definitely do it. My wife just walked in the door and didn't realize we were broadcasting, so she doesn't like. It's one of the problems with Google Plus is she never knows like when we're broadcasting to the world here. So she has to sign a release every time she appears on camera. So it's
what a bummer.
It really is. It's a very difficult legal matter. Moving on to some other things in ebook news, Amazon has that Plus Prime program where you love the Prime. I pay for it. I've been a Prime member for a long time. It's great to just ship like really heavy things today, just because have it delivered by jet. But one of the things they've been doing is adding some additional features. So if you're a Prime subscriber, you get kind of a Netflix-like streaming video service that works not only on your computer but also on your Roku box and some other devices. I think I have a DVD player that might work with it, not with an iPhone or iPad, unfortunately. But they've also been doing a lending library where you get a book a month for free. You have to read it and then return it, so you can't get 2 books at the same time. But Harry Potter is joining the mix this month, so it looks like they're really getting aggressive about this. I wonder how the licensing works on that. Tim, have you heard anything about this?
Yeah, I don't know how you make your money as a publisher from that, how they split the revenue with you, but as a consumer, it's great. You're only allowed to check out 1 book at a time, but, if you read it and you don't like it, just send it back and you get another one. And so you're allowed 1 book at a time, and it's just part of the Prime service. And, the other nice thing about Prime is that you get free shipping, and there's a bunch of videos that you can watch for free as well.
They're terrific, and they should totally pay us to keep talking about them.
That's right. This would be a good place for a sponsor. I think we have another sponsor opportunity when it comes to backing up stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. And and I would love to hear Lauren's perspective on this because this is something that I found amazing. So Jason found this story, and actually it was on The Verge, and I think there was a YouTube video about it as well. Apparently, Toy Story 2 almost completely disappeared because they didn't have a good backup. And apparently what happened is there's a Unix command, not to get all techie, but if you're like using Unix, and I don't suggest anyone do this, you type in RM and a star, and it will erase everything on your computer. And apparently somebody did that at Pixar and nearly erased totally erased the entire movie. And they thought, no problem, we got a backup. And what happened? So they went to the backup tape, the backups were bad. And they were saved only because one of the animators working on the film had young children and occasionally worked from home, and she would shuttle backups back and forth between the office and her home workstation. And her home workstation, of course, was like some big silicon graphics workstation thing, but nevertheless, she had the full backup. So she ran home, picked up the movie, and brought it back, and they were back in business. But
wow,
it is scary. It is a big ouch moment, and it's one of these.
Have you lost any stuff, Lauren?
Oh God, yes, of course.
So tell us about what you lost.
I lost a whole hard drive of stuff. All of a sudden, my hard drive, my old computer just went bad. Like everything for the last 2 years, I didn't back up. I was just like, why didn't I back this stuff up?
Yeah, I run the Time Machine on my laptop.
I do as well.
Yeah, that seems to work out pretty well. I once did an interview with a guy that Lauren's worked with, Ben Rellis. We were at a MC Hammer's party after a YouTube event in San Francisco, and it was really, really noisy. So we went back into the kitchen of the restaurant where the party was, and I interviewed him in the kitchen, and there's people working behind him, and he's telling me about doing Obama Girl, and it's like this awesome interview, but the lighting wasn't that good. And he's like, hey, can I see it? And I show it to him on my flip, and he's like, I look like a raccoon. And he hits the erase button.
Oh, wow.
You can tell I've totally gotten over it. No.
That's horrible. I had an instance where one of the sites that I write for is called cptechjunkie.com, and we had an opportunity to go, this is geeky, but we had an opportunity to go tour a space shuttle. So we actually got to go inside a space shuttle and take video and interview people, and it was really a really cool thing.
Awesome.
And I get back to my little desk at the press center at NASA, and my hard drive crashed. Afterward. Thankfully, I hadn't yet erased my cards, so I had everything backed up, but I had to kind of start the project over again. But I have always kept, whenever I have something like that going on, I always keep a backup of even the raw stuff on the card.
So there you go, folks. Yep. Right now, today's the day.
Today's the day.
Go back it up. We're reminding you right now. Go back up your videos.
Go back them up. Go to Amazon.com. Buy yourself that external 2 terabyte hard drive. Just dump everything on there, and you'll have peace of mind and money in your pocket from not losing things that your potential clients might want to purchase from you. So
or your friends might want to see. And speaking of which, I think our last story has something to do with your friends on Facebook. Well,
yes.
Kinda.
So I didn't catch this, but Casablanca, the classic movie, was streamed live on Facebook for its 70th anniversary. I didn't see it. Lauren, did you get a chance to catch that?
No.
Tim?
No, not a chance.
So
I've been on planes, trains, and automobiles.
So it didn't work for any of us, but it looks like the studios are experimenting with some of the back catalog stuff, and certainly Casablanca DVD sales are probably not to the point where they were worried about streaming the whole movie live on Facebook. But Lauren, do you do any social interaction or community building around your videos? Have you done anything live like that?
Oh, definitely, I did. I was on Blog TV last night.
And how does that work?
Well, I'll put a video out and then I'll try to go live. I mean, it doesn't happen normally. It happens maybe once or twice a month. But I'll get to do it because I just get really busy, and I'll put a video out. Like yesterday, I was at a tube filter event, and I'm uploading the video at the same time, and I'm talking to a bunch of people, and I'm like, I got to keep this private because I can't annotate it on my iPhone, So
right.
So yeah.
And do you find that getting a live audience is harder than a on-demand audience?
No, it depends on the time. Usually I'm pretty good at getting a live audience. I mean, not a huge live audience, you know what I mean? If I schedule it, I'll get a lot more people, and it depends on the day. Like, if it's like a Friday night and I go on Blog TV, I'll get a ton of people, you know what I mean, to come into my room. So it just depends.
Have you played around with Google?
On a Friday night, you'll get a ton of people to come to your room. Okay, that's unheard. I should tweet that.
That's the show title right there. Have you done anything with Google+?
Yeah. Well, I did. When before the Hangouts, they had Hangouts. We tried a couple at Barely Political, and it was cool. It was just it was like we were talking to fans, and it was kind of awkward because these little boys would come in the room and they'd say hi, and it'd be like me, Mark, and Todd, and we'd just be like, okay, we have to talk to this little boy right now. You know what I mean? He'd be by himself, and I just felt a little weird,
Yeah, no, I can see that. It's one of the things that, if you go on Google Plus Hangouts and just open it up to the world, it gets to be quite bizarre. I had people on a Plus Hangout talking to each other in a different language at the same time we were talking. It's like, why come to my room and talk to each other?
Maybe that's their show. We go on other people's shows, speak different languages, and see how long they let things last.
Exactly. So maybe, Tim, as an experiment, we'll open up one of our Hangouts on air and see who joins us, but not today. I think that might be enough for us. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Behind the Video. Lauren, where can people find you?
YouTube.com/Lauren.
Excellent. Subscribe today, and she's doing some great work, and we're really happy that she was able to join us. And Tim, where can people find you on the internets?
You know what? Just Google me, Tim Street. You'll find me somewhere.
That's it. The one, the only. So thank you, everybody. This edition of Behind the Video is a wrap.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks.
Stories for this episode were compiled by producer Jason Perrier. Follow him on Twitter at JASONPERRIER. Behind the Video is a production of Ape Digital Incorporated and the Independent Media Network, LLC. All rights reserved.